Wir machen weiter. Gut.
So we can continue. So I pass the microphone to you with a question. I've known you for someone who rescues the cultural landscape and a committed activist and researcher and everything. Can you tell me what took you to the hedges, Marlin? Well, thank you very much for the nice transition, the warm words. My name is Marlin, and I'm here because I coordinate the BaumLand, the Treeland Campaign. How come? Well, I grew up in Schleswig-Holstein, which is the northernmost part of Germany, and this is the hedge haven of Germany, and I used to play in the hedges with my brother. And then I studied something in that vein, and via the ABL, the cooperative on artisanal farming, I got to back with working with hedges, so I can now work full-time on increasing the number of hedges, and that is a very lovely thing to do. And let's get started with this, because we would like to take you across the market of opportunities, and the first stand is right behind us, and I'd say let's start with it, okay? You're welcome to come up front, and I'll give you the floor, and maybe you can introduce BaumLand to us. Hello, my name is Julia. This is my colleague Benna. We work with the BaumLand Campaign, which struggles or fights for better conditions, political framework conditions for the planting and growing of trees and hedges, of course. And hedges have been planted, used, managed, and taken care of for centuries in Europe. And if we want to maintain our cultural landscape, we have to maintain our hedges as well. Exactly. And it's not only about managing hedges. We need hedges. They're the green arteries of our landscape. And if we face such a challenge, such as climate change, adjusting to climate change, the loss of species, then hedges are great to store CO2, to keep water in the soil, and to create green corridors, and to be a biotope for all the species that live in them. And this is why we demand politicians and administrations to become active, to create better framework conditions, for instance, better financing for the people who manage hedges, but it also means a secure legal framework for the economic utilization of hedges, to allow that and to promote it. That's what we fight for. That's what we're there for. Yes, and of course, we also would like to see society at large to be committed to this by, for instance, creating and caring for your own hedges, but also to show your appreciation more than just an applause, for instance, by buying hedge products and paying an extra buck for them. What are all the people committed to coming here to this Congress? And this is what I enjoy in working with BaumLand, is to see how many commitment and motivation and fun there is among the people who get together and talk to each other. So it's great to see that you're with us online as well, and we hope that you have a great Congress. There's nothing really to add anymore. Of course, it's fun to peek into the support and subsidy programs, but I have to say the greatest fun is, just like Julia said, when all the energy comes together and we together fight for hedges being taken care of and planted. Okay, thank you very much to you, and I'll just move on. We heard about ABL, the cooperative artisanal farming before. Maybe you can explain this. Yes, thank you very much. I represent ABL here today. The BaumLand Campaign was created out of ABL, and ABL is a farming association which supports farmers and fights for socially just and ecologically viable farming. or agriculture. That's the main objective of ABL. It was established just under 50 years ago. And it's not only an association, it's also a political movement, because every individual farm is important. For decades, an increasing number of farms have thrown in the towel, have been forced to close down, and that is something that we as a society cannot afford, and that's why for nearly 50 years, ABL has been fighting for maintaining the conditions for farmers to survive. And so we are committed to nutritional sovereignty. So people are supposed to decide for themselves how nutrition is created and managed. Fair prices are a very important aspect, because agriculture is always and still the weakest link in the chain that is usually or oftentimes exploited, and soil protection. So these are some of the most important aspects of the work of ABL. So why do I like working with ABL? Because ABL is the only farming association that has real solutions, making sure that the dying of farms will end. There is another farming association in Germany, but they ensure that they have ever fewer members due to their policies. Every farm counts. That's my last sentence. That's a nice end. Sorry to cut this short. We have another few initiatives that we would like to see jointly now. So you can see some of our conference, the venue we're at today, because we will now go underneath our petition banner. There was a huge petition which has been signed by more than 160,000 people by now for more trees and hedges. So if you haven't signed it yet, you're welcome to do it in the break. Now let's move on to our posters. And let me start with Anne-Christine. So can you present what you do? Yes, hello. My name is Christina Villalanats. I represent the La Feria project, a European project within Horizon Europe, finance within Horizon Europe. We are numerous different scientific organizations, and we're represented in 7 different countries, and we try to understand how we can combine the re-establishment of cultural landscape on intensively farmed areas, and we need the inputs of that we can get here. Hedges, for instance, how can they be reestablished in the countryside? Where are there any good examples that we can learn from? Where are the problems? What are the successes? So we need a lot of information from you, and that's why we're here. If you want to know more about us, we have a website, and we're looking forward to hearing more from you. Well, thank you very much. I think we can learn a lot from each other, from what you said. Okay, now I would like to give the floor to Joris.
Hallo Marlin.
Hello, Marlin.
Ja, schön hier zu sein.
Well, it's good to be here. My name is Joris, co-founder and manager of Nuts and Berries Agroforestry. We are a young agroforestry service company. We accompany farmers and forest owners in creating climate-resistant forests and farms. Our motto is don't just plant a hedge, design a system. That is to indicate that we have to consider numerous aspects in the value-added chain from the get-go, and that's why we have our from seed to fruit design and consultancy approach. which is geared to implement this on-site with the farmers. We use local seeds, micro-nurseries with aerial roots, cutting systems. And an important aspect is that we also need to establish regional network structures in order to achieve long-term success in establishing networks, hedging networks.
Sorry, ich bin an einem einfach vorbeigelaufen.
Oh, sorry, I skipped one. So let's swap.
Dann übergebe ich
trade places. Okay, so I give the floor to you. Hello, my name is Volker Rudolph of the county of Lauenburg, and since the beginning of the 90s I've been working in the Environmental Protection Agency there, so we've had a lot of connections with construction law and building law, and a new post was created 6 years ago, and so I had the opportunity of creating the hedge protection program, which is composed of 3 pillars. On the one hand, from planning and construction of hedges, then the financing, very importantly, how can I finance these landscaping measures, and thirdly, so that we can look at existing hedges, we also have a program of consultancy and lectures. I am responsible for all of this, have been so far. So owners can apply with us. We always build the hedges on areas owned by other people, and then we look at the environmental impact and whether all the users can live well with this hedge, and if the measure is beneficial from our point of view in environmental terms, we can co-finance it. We will take the money from the big infrastructure projects, that's wind parks, power lines, etc. And this money is then implemented in our county. So more details can be gleaned from these flyers. They're also available in Low German language. So you can go to our website and enter the buzzword hedge or the German Knick, and then this will take you to me. Now, infrastructure measures have been just mentioned, and tomorrow that'll be the topic of another lecture that we'll hear tomorrow. Now we go back to the back there to this lady here, and she'll tell us something about compensation.
Ach, das ist gar kein richtiges. Doch, okay.
It's not a real microphone.
Ja, hi,
oh, right.
Ich bin Kati von der Hochschule Osnabrück.
My name is Kati from the University of Osnabrück and BaumLand Campaign, and this poster indicates compensation measures and how they can be used in order to
effektiv und erfolgreich zu pflanzen. Denn wir wissen
plant agricultural woods efficiently. Hedges, mixed orchards, etc. are not as commonplace as we would like to see, and compensatory measures take this into the landscape, and we wondered why are there so many woods and copses that are in such a poor condition? And so we performed a number of interviews, and we did a qualitative analysis. The result is a report of more than 300 pages that nobody wants to read, but nevertheless everybody wants to know, how can I be successful in planting trees or copses and get subsidies for this. So you can get our report, planting copses with compensation measures. So that is geared to people who want to use this in their own on their own land, and we would like to have compensation agreements
Also schreibt's euch in den Kalender.
And this will be presented on the 6th and 7th of November in Hanover, where we will present this guideline that we published.
Jetzt gehen wir einmal zusammen
Okay,
rüber,
thank you very much. We
in
move
unsere
on
Scheune.
to our
Dazu
barn,
queren wir einmal, wir
and
kommen jetzt
we
an der
will
Anmeldung vorbei
cross over. This is the registration desk here.
und queren
And
dann einmal zu unserem Markt
let's
der
move
Möglichkeiten.
over
Jetzt sieht man
to
hier
our
vielleicht auch
market
noch
of
einmal ein bisschen,
opportunities. Maybe you
das
can see
Gutsgelände. Wir haben richtig
the
Glück mit dem
property
Wetter, was
here.
natürlich für
The
die
weather is
Exkursion, die schon
actually
total
perfect, which
gut
was
war.
great for the excursion.
Genau, die fand heute früh statt.
Okay, so
Und
that
jetzt sind gerade noch die
action
letzten
took
beim
place this
Mittagessen
morning. The
und
last people are having
schlendern
their
über
lunch
den
now.
Markt der
And
Möglichkeiten.
let's have a look
Der
at the
hier geschmückt
market
ist
of
wieder von den vielen
opportunities,
Gemeinwohlbannern.
beautifully set out with
Und
these banners
genau,
here.
und dann ist der erste Stand,
And
der
the
sich
first
gleich
stand we're going to
vorstellt,
visit
unser Mitausrichter,
is
die
one
Heckenretter.
of our
Und
people involved in the
genau,
Congress are
denen
the
überlasse ich
hedge
natürlich selbst die
saviors,
Vorstellung
and I will
ihrem
give them
Projekt.
the microphone to present their project.
Wir sind die Heckenretter.
We are the
Wir setzen uns
saviors
dafür ein,
for
dass
hedges,
Hecken in der Landschaft
Heckenretter,
erhalten und sachgerecht
keeping
gepflegt werden
hedges in the
und dass neue
landscape,
Hecken
maintaining
angepflanzt werden,
them,
denn
and
der
planting new
Artenvielfalt
hedges
nützen Hecken
because
wesentlich mehr als Wälder
biodiversity
und
is
für
much,
die
hedges are
CO2-Bilanz
much
sind
better
sie
for
Wäldern
biodiversity
ebenbürtig.
rather than
Wir
woodlands and
versuchen,
forests.
Hecken in
We
die
try to
ausgeräumten Landschaften wieder zu
bring
pflanzen,
hedges
damit
back into
Bodenerosion
the plain
verringert
landscape
wird
to
und Bodenfeuchte
work
erhalten
against
wird. Und wir
erosion of
pflanzen
the
dabei
soil,
auch Hecken in
keeping
die Köpfe, geben
humidity
viel von unserem
in
Wissen
the
über
soil,
Hecken weiter
and we want to
auf das
plant hedges in
Privatgärtner,
people's heads as well for people in their
Schrebergärtner,
private
das auch alles
gardens
wissen.
to know what they need to
Vielen
know
Dank.
about hedges.
Genau, und es gab auch schon zur
Thank
Eröffnung von
you,
unserem
and
Kongress
for
eine
the
ganz tolle
inauguration of the
Pflanzaktion.
Congress we
Darüber
had
hören wir
a
aber nachher
planting
noch mal ein
activity.
bisschen.
We'll
Aber vielen
hear
Dank
about
euch auch
that
dafür.
later, so thank you for
Dann geht's
initiating
jetzt
that.
hier weiter
And then we
mit
move on
Jürgen Binder.
to Jürgen
Stell doch mal
Binder.
deine Schule vor und dich.
Introduce your school.
Ich bin
Hello.
Imkermeister und
I am
betreibe eine Imkerschule,
a
die heißt
beekeeper.
Armbruster
I
Imkerschule.
operate the
Und
Armbruster
weil ich
School
will den
for
Imkerinnen und
beekeepers,
Imkern helfen, die
I want to
Bienengesundheit zu
help
verbessern.
the
Und
beekeepers
es sind
to
Online-Kurse und
keep
auch
their bees
Live-Sprechstunden.
healthy. I do online
Hier bin
courses.
ich auch
I
noch
do
als
live
Vertreter des
presentation,
neuen Imkerbundes.
and
Wir haben
I
dafür
also
gesorgt, dass es
represent the
jetzt auch
new
für kleine Imkereien
beekeepers
eine
association
kostengünstige
here, which is
Biozertifizierung gibt, weil ich
especially
möchte
for
gerne
small
einen Beitrag zum
beekeepers, small
Systemwandel in der
operations,
Landwirtschaft leisten. Bienen sind ja
to
das
certify
Bindeglied
their
zwischen Naturschutz
work,
und
and the
Landwirtschaft.
bees are the
Und deswegen brauchen
link between
Bienen
economy
übrigens auch
and
Wildbienen und Schmetterlinge,
landscape.
auch
So
Hecken,
that's why we need the
ganzjährig
bees and the
blühende
butterflies
Pflanzen,
and the wild
die
bees
Nektar und Pollen
and
sammeln.
hedges
Und, deswegen
and plants
sind wir
that
da genau
blossom throughout the
Ja, schön,
year,
dass du da bist.
giving
Ja, ich
nectar
muss mich
and
nur
pollen.
umdrehen.
Thank you
dann
for
komme ich
being
zu dem
here,
nächsten,
and I just have to
nämlich
turn
dem
around
Stand
for the
der
next stand,
Obstbau
which is the
Schnittschule.
stand of the
Ja,
tree
mein Name
cutting
ist Judy
school.
Mattes. Ich bin
Hello, I'm Judy
Ausbilderin der
Mattes. I'm
Obstbau-Schnittschule
a
und
trainer
arbeite auch für
in the tree
Kommunikation und
cutting school,
Öffentlichkeitsarbeit.
working in
Und ich bin
communication
Samuel Schubert, auch
as
Ausbilder
well,
in der
and I'm
Obstbaum-Schnittschule.
also a
Die
trainer.
Obstbaum-Schnittschule zeichnet sich aus
Samuel
dadurch,
is my
dass
name,
wir die
and
umfangreichste
we have a
Baumwollausbildung in
very
Deutschland haben. Das heißt, eine
extensive
professionelle
course.
Ausbildung
It's a
mit
professional
185
course,
Unterrichtsstunden,
185 hours of
wo überwiegend
training
Menschen so zwischen
with
25 und
people
40 Jahren sind,
coming from 25
von
to
Anteil
40
bis zu
years,
50% und genau, wo man sich
50%
da
of them female,
umfangreich und praktisch
and
orientiert
so they
weiterbilden kann.
can
Dann
get their
haben wir aber
training
auch noch
in
andere
tree
Kurse, wie
cutting,
zum
and
Beispiel der
besides that we have other
Heckenlegekurs. Wir
courses.
sind
We
ja
have
auf
a
dem
hedge
Heckenkongress.
laying course as
Das kann
well,
man bei uns
so
praktisch
you can
lernen,
practically
also wie man
learn
traditionelle
hedge
Hecken
laying
pflegt. Dann haben
traditionally,
wir aber auch noch
and
Einführungskurse
we
zum
have introductory
Obstbaumschnitt
courses
und ganz
to
interessant,
fruit
ab
tree
November
cutting,
startet wieder
and
unsere
from November our
Online-Seminarreihe, die ist
online
auf Spendenbasis.
series
Da
will
kann man
start,
sich dann
which is
dazuschalten
based on
und
donations, and
was lernen.
you can switch in and log
Schön,
in
vielen
and
Dank.
learn something as well there.
Jetzt wurde über
Thank
Bäume
you.
gesprochen. Jetzt
Thank
haben
you.
wir
Talking
sogar
about the
handfeste
trees,
Bäume
and we
vor
even
Ort.
have trees here
Genau,
on
und ich übergebe
site.
zur Vorstellung dieser Bäume
And
mal an Franziska Gehre.
Franziska is going to present
Hallo,
the trees
vielen
to
Dank.
us.
Ja, ich bin
Hello,
Franziska Gehre
thank
von der
you.
Baumschule
I'm Franziska from
Und ja,
Kastanienkultur
meine Vision ist ein essbare
Tree Nursery,
Baumlandschaften,
and
also
I have
Hecken
the
und
vision of
Agroforstsysteme
edible
und alles
tree
mit eben essbaren
landscapes,
Gehölzen. Und ein,
completely
die
made
wichtigste Kultur
of
ist ja,
trees
wie
with
man auch
edible
sieht, die
fruit, and the
Esskastanie,
most important
weil die
thing
eben
is the sweet
Kohlenhydrate auf Bäume
chestnut here,
produziert.
because that produce
Ja, wir
proteins
haben auch
on trees.
Ölweiden, das
We
sind
have
also mit
oil
Tannern verwandt, so
elders
essbare
here,
Sträucher,
they can be
also
eaten.
Beeren, Sträucher
Well,
mit essbaren Beeren,
the shrubs,
und
the berries,
Haselnusskreuzungen.
We have
Und ja, ihr
hazels.
könnt gerne auf
So
www.kastanienkultur.de
just
vorbeischauen
check our
und,
website
ja, unser Sortiment entwickelt sich stetig
www.kastanienkultur for our assortment.
Dank.
Thank you.
Ich glaube, die Baumschule ist auf jeden
Okay,
Fall auch, schon
I
ein
think
Begriff in
that
der
is
Szene
a
geworden.
term in the
Jetzt
scene,
gebe ich
well
einmal
known,
ab an das
and
Projekt
I
Verpachten vom
hand
NABU.
over to the NABU
möchte es
project Fair Letting.
ja, hallo.
Verpachten.
Verpachten, das ist ein kostenloses
This is
Beratungsangebot des NABU und wir
free
richten
of
uns an die
charge
Verpächter Landwirtschaftlicher
consultation
Flächen.
program.
Wenn die sich mehr
We
Natur auf der Fläche wünschen, sagen wir denen, welche
talk to
Naturschutzmaßnahmen
people
möglich
who
sind, damit sie
want to
dann in die
do
Beratung mit ihrem Pächter
conversational
gehen können,
measures
damit sie sich
on
dabei
their
ein bisschen sicherer
fields,
werden.
on
Und
their
Heckenpflanzen ist
estate,
eben eine
and
der ganz
planting
wichtigen
hedges is
Maßnahmen,
one
die
of
wir
the
beraten.
important measures where we
Genau,
provide
Hecken sind total
consultations.
wichtig.
Yes,
Die bieten
hedges
Struktur
are
in
very
der
important. They
Landwirtschaft,
structure
sind Lebensraum
the
für ganz viele
agricultural
Arten von
landscape
Insekten über
for many
Amphibien,
types
Vögeln
of
bis hin zu
insects,
Feldrasen,
amphibia,
bieten
birds,
Lebensraum,
hares,
Nahrung und Unterschlupf
offering
für ganz viele
food,
Tiere in
shelter
der oft
and
strukturlosen
protection
Landwirtschaftsfläche.
in the
Ja, schön, dass ihr da
structured
seid und dass ihr
on the
damit auch auf
landscape,
dieses,
which is hardly structured
den großen
if
Anteil der
agriculturally
Pacht
used. Okay, thank
aufmerksam
you,
macht oder
and
diese
thank you for
Zielgruppe
pointing out the
adressiert.
large target
Dann
group
geht's
letting
hier
areas
weiter.
for agriculture.
Genau, bei
So
Maria
we
Bach.
continue over here.
Maria Bach, ich
Maria
bin
Bach.
Dozentin an einer
I
LGVA,
am
der
a
Lehr- und
trainer
Versuchsanstalt
in the
für Gartenbau und
LGVA,
Arbristik. Das ist südlich
which is
von
a training course of
für,
agriculture and
in Großbären.
landscaping in
Wir sind
Großbären, south of Berlin.
Bildungsanbieter
We
eben
are a
vor allem für
certified
Weiterbildungsformate
school
für die grüne
for
Branche, hauptsächlich
training for the green
Baumpflege und
industry,
Freiflächenpflege, auch Obstgehölzpflege.
maintaining
Und,
trees,
zunehmend auch
meadows,
Landschaftspflege und
and
deswegen bin ich hier, weil Anfragen inzwischen
fruit
kommen,
trees,
auch von
landscaping
Naturparks
as
zum Beispiel, die
well.
dann
We
an
get
der Schnittstelle
inquiries
zwischen Landwirtschaft
from
und
natural
Naturschutz
reserves who
eigentlich
are kind of
Konflikte
at
haben,
the
weil bestehende
interface
Hecken nicht
between
nachhaltig gepflegt wurden und
the
eigentlich eine
landscape
Wissensvermittlung suchen.
and
Wissensvermittlung und
conservatories.
Und,
Often focusing on
ich wollte aber
hedges,
gerne in
which
dem
are the
Zusammenhang noch mal
boundaries
hinweisen
between the
auf
two
ein
areas.
Projekt, was wir haben,
And I would like to
ein
point out
Forschungsprojekt zum
a
Schutz
project
von
that we have
Alleen,
to
nachhaltigen
protect
Alleen. Und die
chaussées,
Datenbank,
alleyways.
die wir dort haben, wo auch
We
von
have
der BaumLand-Kampagne
databases where
Förderdatenbank auch mit
your
eingeflossen ist, die CrossBar-Datenbank.
data has gone there as
CrossBar
well.
ohne R am Ende.
The
Gerne als
CrossBar,
Hinweis auch nochmal, wer sich mit
that
Gehölzpflege,
is something
Erhalt
if
von
you want to
Strukturen,
look at maintaining
Strukturen in der
structures,
Landschaft,
maintaining woodlands in
Dankeschön.
the
Und wie
landscape.
schön, dass
This
ihr
is
schon
good to look
Anfragen
at.
auch
And
bekommt,
great, thank you,
proaktiv.
great to hear that you have inquiries already.
Wie viel Zeit hast du noch, also dass du noch in Ruhe oben...
How much time do we have?
Oder sollen wir einen Cut machen?
Shall we continue here?
Michael, wie viele sind es noch? Wie viele Stände sind es?
We have a number of stands to go yet, and there seems to be a discussion going on whether they will be able to cover all of them, to do them briefly in a
Kannst du
minute
den DEFAF
only.
in einer Minute
So can you
vorstellen?
explain the DEFAF in 1 minute? Yes, I'm here from the German Agricultural Association. We have been around for 6 years, 600 members, and we connect and inform. We have lots of farmers in our association, scientists, and people working in agroforestry, and we are working in different areas and regional groups to connect and bring knowledge forward. Great, thank you for that brief
Genau, damit
introduction.
gehen wir weiter.
And that takes us
Magst du dein
to
Projekt
the
in einer
next
Minute
stand.
vorstellen?
Can
Ja,
you
möchte ich gerne. Vielen
introduce
Dank.
yourself? Yes,
Wir
thank
sind von
you.
der Agrokraft. Das
We
ist
are
eine
from
Tochter vom
Agrokraft,
Bauernverband
which
und
is a
Maschinenring in
spin-off
Weingrabfeld
of
im Norden Bayerns.
Bauernverband and Machinering
Und
in
neben
north
vielen
of
anderen
Bavaria.
Projekten im Bereich
Besides many projects,
Regionalentwicklung und
regional
Landwirtschaft
development
machen wir
and
und erneuerbare Energien
agricultural
machen wir auch
development and
Naturraumprojekte.
new
Das
technologies,
heißt,
we
unser
do
Ziel ist
natural
es,
conservatory
Struktur wieder in die
projects,
Fläche zu bekommen.
creating
Zum
structures
Beispiel mit
into the
Biogasblühflächenmischungen als Alternative zum Mais.
area, into
Aber jetzt
the
auch das abgeschlossene Projekt
putting on biogas
Solitärbäume in die offene
solitaries
Agrarlandschaft.
and
3,5
solitary
Jahre,
trees, for
3.500 Bäume war die
example.
Herausforderung.
3.5
Hat
years,
geklappt. Nächster Schritt ist
3,500
Hecken, wobei
trees.
es
We
immer
did
darum
that.
geht,
The next step
dass wir
is
die
hedges,
ökonomische
looking
Vorzüglichkeit
at
dieser
the
Maßnahmen
economic
darstellen für die Bewirtschafter.
and
Dass wir
ecologic
sagen, es ist
excellency
wichtig,
for
dass du
these
mitmachst, dass
measures,
du dabei bist.
saying it's important
Super,
that you
vielen
are
Dank.
there, that you participate and help out.
Dankeschön.
Thank you.
Genau, dann komme ich weiter
Okay, let's
zur
move on
Obstbaumpflegeschule.
to
Magst du kurz
the
in einer
fruit
Minute
tree
erzählen, was ihr macht?
cutting school. Can you give
Ja,
us an
Dankeschön.
introduction?
Genau, also wir sind von der
Yes,
Schule für
we are
Obstbaumpflege,
from
das
a
man
school
lernen kann.
for
Und wir bilden
fruit
bundesweit
tree
BaumLandInnen aus,
cutting.
die
We
eben von einem kleinen
train
Baum bis
this
zu einem
throughout the country, from young trees right to old trees, teaching all the different steps and the courses, smaller courses as well if you don't have as much time. And we are here because we think that hedges play an important role in this planting. So they change the air that they reduce frost damages, or we have birds and animals that are against pests, and we think it's important to have experts taking care of the hedges and the woodlands in the landscape. Thank you. It's very interesting to see how this moves on the different type of plants, and that takes us to the Heckenretter. Can you tell us in a brief minute what you do? Yes, we are the natural guides in the Heckenretter, which is an area in south of Germany, and that is in the north of the Black Forest, close to Stuttgart. And we are happy to take our guests through the landscape, explaining what they see, including the population that lives around our areas, explaining how ecologically valuable hedges are, what we see, all the blossoming in spring. So everybody loves to take a walk in our areas because the hedges blossom, or in autumn we have all these beautiful berries around. For us, the Heckenretter is our home turf. We live there, and we live for and from the hedges and of the hedges. And I would like to play a little music to finish off with. So with looking at the clock, it's beautiful. Anyhow, I thank you, and move on to the wattled hedges. So you are around everywhere. What are you doing? Yes, wattled hedges is the only historical hedge, 350 years old, and you can get this information from our internet webpage. Check it, it's unique in Germany, even in Europe perhaps. This type of hedge is interesting in the respect that we have hazels, scrubs, layered in 3 levels, tied together with a knot. So if you tie it around, then the fibers loosen, and you can use that shift that it takes to tie a knot, which is also on the verge of extinction. So we are an immaterial, intangible cultural heritage which we want to maintain. Thank you, and you got one of the most beautiful stands in the exhibition. Thank you for that. So we have the cross hedges as well, which we have in Lippe, which is North Rhine-Westphalia, and they are more easy to maintain than the wattled hedge. Thank you. You'll get the information on the webpage as well, and that takes us to the last stand of the round.
Moin,
hello,
Asmus
Streich is my name. 3 years ago I started the tree nursery Waldgarten, and doing different nut and agroforestry trees, mixed orchids, forest gardens. I care for trees in private gardens as well, and just check my online shop www.baumschule-waldgarten, where you see a broad range of fruit and nut trees. Thank you. Okay, that takes us to the walk down, and we will take the stroll back now to introduce you to the person who will be on the laptop and the chat all day today to answer as many of your questions as is possible, making sure that everything works fine, which is selective branching. We're going to introduce that in a minute. And then we will relieve Carol, who has to walk around with a heavy camera all the time.
Genau, jetzt kommen wir hier wieder in
So,
diesen
walking back
Raum
into this entrance area here,
und gehen einmal an den
and
Städtischen
we
vorbei,
move
hin zu unserem
along
letzten
to
Poster.
our last poster,
Genau, Michael Gröhm, der
Michael
auch
Gröhm,
die BaumLand-Kampagne mit
who
koordiniert hat, uns
coordinates the
mit seiner
BaumLand Campaign
Expertise
as well,
unterstützt und stellt
supporting
jetzt
us
das
with his
selektive Aufrasten
expertise,
vor.
will explain selective
wir
branching
möchten
for
mit der
us.
BaumLand-Kampagne
Yes,
und der
with
Obstform
the
Hedgerow
BaumLand
das selektive
campaign,
Aufrasten
we
in die
want
Gemeinden
to
bringen, in die
bring this
Städte bringen,
into the
weil jeder
communities and the
Baum, den
cities,
wir pflanzen,
because every
der nicht im
tree
Wald
that we
steht,
plant,
der
which
muss
is not in
aufgeastet
the,
werden, damit die
in the
Unternutzung stattfinden
forest,
kann. Also so ein
has to be
Straßenbaum,
cut
damit dann
at the
LKW fahren
bottom
kann,
to
da muss die Krone
use
hochgebracht
it.
werden. Das wird
So
häufig zu
the
spät gemacht,
canopy
das
has
heißt,
to
wir
be
schneiden
brought
sehr
up.
große Wunden.
That means,
Das kann man zum
and that's
Beispiel,
often done late. That means we cut
da wird's perspektivisch
heavily.
reinfauen.
So this
Wir
is where
verlieren
we see
vorzeitig
it.
Bäume.
We
Und wenn man's
lose
richtig
trees
macht,
early, and if you do
dann
it
kann man auch
right
mehrschäftig
from an
aufasten,
early
dann hat man aber
age
viel
on,
Arbeit.
you can
Das,
do
man
it
muss
in
also nicht
several
an einem
layers.
Stamm aufasten,
So
sondern
you don't do it
mehrschäftig.
in one
Das heißt, wir versuchen, das
trunk
selektive
only.
Aufrasten,
So
was
we
man hier sehr
select
schön
here,
sieht,
which is what you
in
see
die
here,
Landschaft zu bringen, damit
bringing
wir
that in the
langlebige,
landscape so
kostengünstige
that we
Bäume
have
bekommen. Und da ja viele
long-living,
Kommunen heute mit
cost-efficient
dabei
trees,
sind,
and as
ist
we
es
have many
besonderes
municipalities
Anliegen,
with us
dass wir
here
das in die
today,
Kommunen
this
reintragen,
is
dass wir
something that we
zukünftig noch
want to
Bäume haben.
introduce to the communities
Damit
so
gehen wir
that
jetzt
we
zu
have
der
trees
Person,
in
die
the
Konzept
future as
stellt,
well.
die
So let's now walk over
sich
to the
befindet.
person taking care of the chat.
Also noch einmal
She's
durch diesen
upstairs.
Vorraum, vorbei an den ganzen
So
Menschen, die sich schon
let
auf
me
den
try
Weg machen
to
zur grünen
wriggle
Bühne,
through
weil's da ja
all the
gleich
people
losgeht.
walking to the green stage, where the main
Wir folgen
event is
einmal
going to be
der Herde
staged in a minute.
quasi.
Just follow everybody up the stairs.
Man hört im Hintergrund schon die Kugel.
You can hear the cowbell ringing as a sound that the event is about to commence.
Vielen Dank, genau. Wir sind wieder zurück.
So we have moved back.
Was ein Zeichen dafür ist,
We have joined Tanja again,
wieder zurück an
which
der Stelle sind, wo es
tells
gleich
us we are right in the back play, in the right
Dolmetscher,
place. You
schon
have
bereit
been
und an der
listening to
Arbeit.
our interpreters already. They have been up and working.
Und damit kommen wir zu der
And
Person,
so
die
let's move on to the person who will take care of our chat. That's the face behind the words. Hello out there. I'm Hendrik Wolf. I will attend the chat tomorrow and today. I'm a professional fruit tree caretaker from Soest, and I have a lot of knowledge about this, and that convinced me to work here, and amongst others, I will be working on the
Vielen Dank. Es
chat
gibt noch eine
for the
zweite
next 2 days. Is there somebody else? No, there isn't. I'll do it on myself. Okay, thank you.
Genau.
Thank you very much. We've got 5 minutes break, and at the bottom of the hour, we will start with the introduction and the first presentations. See and hear you then.
Total leid.